Hello, everybody. It's great to be here one more time today. And my name is Gary Fowler, and I'm the CEO, president, and founder of GSD Get You Done Venture Studios, a premier AI and quantum venture studio located in the heart of Silicon Valley. I'm a 17-time serial entrepreneur with several unicorns under the belt. I was on the original management team at Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for 1.35 billion. Also, Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company that I co-founded with Dr. David Yang. Today, I'd like to welcome all of you here and thanks for joining us today. Travel is supposed to be exciting, but too often it's defined by friction, long lines, delays, disconnected systems, and constant decision fatigue. What if all that simply disappeared? Today's episode is titled No Lines, No Lag: How Digital Tourism is Creating Seamless, Personalized Travel Experiences. And we're diving into how AI, automation, and real time platforms are fundamentally changing how travel feels from the moment you book to the moment you return home. I'm excited to welcome my friend Sanjay Bhatia, a global travel and technology leader who has spent his career building platforms that remove friction, unlock personalization, and scale digital experiences across the travel ecosystem. This conversation isn't just about faster check ins or smaller chatbots or smarter chatbots. It's about how digital tourism shifts the role of technology from a back end utility to an invisible experience layer that empowers both travelers and frontline teams. So, this is Simple Night AI Presents, and today we're exploring what happens when travel finally moves at the speed of expectation. Let's jump in. With that, I'd like to bring my friend on board. Hi, Sanjay.
Hey Gary, happy Friday and happy New Year.
Yeah, it's good to see you today. So, Sanjay, let's start big. When you hear the phrase digital tourism, what does it really mean to you, and how is it different from traditional travel tech?
It's really about having the curated experience you used to be able to get. I guess it's been half a century now. If you go back to the 70s and you had a travel agent, they were like curating, they got to know you, your family, kind of what your wants and needs. They knew what was exciting, what was going on in the world, and you just had a fully curated experience. We're gonna reimagine that in a digital way with generative AI. And we're already seeing a lot of situations where it's becoming impossible for the industry to service through call centers. So a lot of it is as we kind of move away from call centers, because frankly, no one had kids. So even if you go all the way to the Philippines or some low cost country, there's just not. We just are running out of people that are willing to do these jobs at low cost. We're in Florida right now. Orlando used to be a huge hub for call centers. Now the turnover is like 400%. It's really hard to get people to stay at those jobs for three, months. And so there's always this question of like, whatever, I'd rather have a human than an AI or a system. Well, I think that was true when the average tenure at a call center was 5 to 7 years. Now it's, less than 5 to 7 months. And so, one, we just simply can't find people in the world willing to do these, frankly, kind of terrible jobs. They're not like you're in a cubicle, you don't get a window. It's not a good situation. People would rather work from home. And even then, you're seeing situations where the turnover is so high that it's impossible to deliver good quality service. Well, coming to the rescue is generative AI, where we're moving into things being able to do more and more through voice, but even through a text interface, it can get a lot done in an agentic way. And when I say agentic, I mean like think of an agent you may have, an insurance agent or a real estate agent. They're allowed to do things on your behalf. So you hire a real estate agent to sell or list your house or manage it. They're able to be your representative as an agent. Well, agentic AI in travel will be similar. They'll be able to, kind of based on your, just order that gluten-free meal on the flight, or whatever needs to be done ahead of time, letting you know that they did it, of course, sometimes asking consent, but for the most part, saving a lot of time. It reminds me, kind of when we were in Bangkok one day and I was looking to potentially change my flight back to the US a couple days, and I just really just wanted to know how much that would cost. And the app wasn't working, and then call Delta, and they were like, "Oh, we have a delay. Would you like a call back?" And it was like the average callback was 95 minutes. So I got to wait 95 minutes. And this isn't like some manager in Orlando calling me. This is you're waiting 95 minutes for someone in the Philippines to call you back. And so the way we've been doing this just has stopped working. Is just not even not scalable. It's just not even doable anymore with the labor market and the way it's headed. So yeah, AI is going to be your personal concierge for your travel experiences. Now this might happen through what's opening up is these app stores for the large language models. So OpenAI now is an app store. So a travel agency, Expedia or Priceline or whoever could actually go and become part of an app store so that when someone asks about these travel needs, it has their personal account data and their preferences, their passport, whatever, their Delta Sky Miles number. There's so many like little numbers and things you got to deal with. The AI can just keep track of it for you. So I think that's really what starts to happen. You're just interfacing with your either the website of the provider, and we call this answer engine optimization. So it's going to be working both through the large language model experience on that homepage of Expedia or whatever site, or if you go into your language model directly, Grok, ChatGPT, whatever you prefer using, that the App Store functionality will let you do those transactions that way as well. This is changing very fast. We're just in the last couple of months, you're really seeing these forces come into play to make this all possible.
Travelers often talk about friction, but operators talk about complexity. Where do you see the biggest disconnect today?
The biggest disconnect is going to be just this idea that you can walk into a hotel and no one's there. Person called in sick. I remember one experience. I was right after that trip to Bangkok. I remember the electronics stores over there had, a small store that have 6 people working there, and
Yeah.
they all knew what they were doing. They were all busy. I go into Best Buy. I was trading in some laptops, and this giant store. I go to customer service. I'm returning three devices, and there's a line. All these people are waiting behind me. I didn't have to wait too long, but they had to wait on me. The manager comes in to help the cashier with something, and doesn't take over a register, just helps him get set up. And then he's like, oh, I guess some people called in sick today, and manager's like, no, this is just how many people we have on a Sunday. And there doesn't even seem to be a recognition that there's you have this giant store and there's like 4 people working in there, right? So you're having those kinds of experiences at a lot of places. So that's really part of it, is that recognition that there is a problem. I've been to a lot of situations at hotels where you go to the front desk and there's just nobody there, or there's one person and there's a big line. Vegas is running this right now at CES. One, prices are up a lot. Vegas used to be very affordable, the buffets, the hotels, so they made the money off the gambling. But now you're seeing for a higher fee, you're getting less service. So that's just the reality of
Yeah,
Vegas
they don't
today.
have the deals with the steak and lobster like they used.
No, there's no steak and lobster deals, but you can't even, unless you're a platinum member, you can't even, check in quickly anymore.
In your experience, what's the first moment in a traveler's journey where digital experiences make the most impact?
I think it's when they're just tired, if it's a late flight, maybe they took a red eye, and you just want to get into your room and lay down. And I'm an owner of a Hilton, and they do a pretty good job of their credit card and app are integrated in such a way where you can walk right up to the room and use your phone to get in the door. And maybe you want to get a key card for later so you don't have to take your phone to the beach. But just that idea, you can get through the elevator, get to your room, and just go lay down. I think that is an experience that really creates a lot of customer loyalty.
We're seeing mobile check-ins, keyless hotel entry, real-time bookings. How do you think these tools actually change the traveler's psychology? So we're doing the mobile booking. Is it a good thing or a bad thing? Or check-in? Is it a good thing or a bad thing to have a mobile check-in? Do you need to have that human touch? The keyless hotel entry. What do you think? Do these make it a
It's
better
a
experience?
I mean it's a generational thing in a lot of ways. You look at the boomers. I mean, they're going to prefer that human touch. You look at Gen X. There's fewer of us, but we're kind of a hybrid. And then You start looking at millennials where they just want to be able to get in there, and then Gen Z is has stage fright going up to a concierge and asking a question, or asking what they're confused. What's happening right now? Like, why is there a person in front of me, and why does my phone not do, get me into this experience?
How do you think AI enables personalization or hyper personalization without overwhelming users with options?
A lot of it is just the basics. If you tend to have certain credit cards, you have certain points programs, you have a TSA number. Just even this idea that you have to go find your credit card and re-enter it all the time. They still, after 20 years, they still haven't solved all that. And so I think AI is that opportunity where it can be a true agent, have access to your passport number, your insurance number, for your, especially if you have kids and there's a bunch of kids, you're not going to remember everyone's social security number and passport necessarily, right? You may know your own, but just the idea of a family, have the amount of data you have to enter to book a family trip is just ridiculous. And AI is a chance for these agentic experiences to just really simplify that, and just give you some options and let you pick from the two or three options.
From the operator side, how does removing friction free staff to focus on moving friction, free staff to open up and focus on higher value human interaction? Do you think it helps on operator side when you're taking some of these friction scenarios away, or does it hinder?
I mean, you have no choice. You can't not you can't hire people. Hiring is still the labor market has gotten a little bit more balanced, where you can find people and hire them, but retaining them is hard. Now, that being said, a lot of these hires were, H-1Bs and other types of visas, which now they're putting, in India, there's 100K price tag on that application. So, a lot of the Fort Lauderdale hotels were getting people in from India. Well, you're not gonna, maybe for a software engineer that's like a senior, that's a chief product officer or chief technology officer, it's worth paying 100 grand to get him to the U.S., but you're not going to do it for a cashier, right? And so, a lot of the immigration things affect that, and so there's no choice. I mean, there just isn't a mechan. There's not enough Americans. It's hard to bring in foreigners. You're going to have no choice but to do tablets and QR codes and mobile.
So, it feels like travel is shifting from transactions to orchestration. What do you think? How does that do you think that's happening or not, Sanjay?
Yeah, you see, well, there's a huge upsell opportunity, and so there's a huge opportunity when you have, especially like a resort style property where there's events at like at my Hilton. There's a New Bay rooftop they just added. There's they're bringing in vendors like to do bourbon tasting and tequila tasting, things like that. So
Where's
there's a lot of
this?
this is the Hilton in Fort Lauderdale Beach.
Oh, that's great. So, those variety of experiences for your Hilton, does it help?
Yeah, I
The,
mean, it just there's a bourbon brand I tried out. I never would have tried the bourbon brand. It's like a gluten free type of bourbon, and so I never would have known it existed. Like I don't go to a liquor store. I order that from Uber Eats if I need to order some spirits. But like just this idea that like there's an experience, everyone's coming, you're just tasting drinks, get to know some of the other people staying, do a little networking, and this can be at just all that integration is part of the experience, and then alerting through the mobile app is how that's all orchestrated.
how important do you think real time data is in creating these experiences that feel seamless rather than scripted? Is
Well,
it?
travel's got to be real time because especially like if there's a flight delay or the Uber slow, like all of those things, especially if you're like say you speak at a conference, like getting all those things in order to make something happen on time. I don't want a solution that like okay, I want to go horseback riding, but I don't want to go horseback riding after I have to leave, right? So like just orchestrating all those real time things, especially if the weather's involved, flight delays, weather, all those are crucial parts of travel. You want to go on a mini catamaran. Well, you're not going to do that in a storm, right? You're going to need to do that on a sunny day with a little bit of wind, but not too much.
Do you see these travel platforms evolving into, I would say like experience operating systems or omni-channel experience engines rather than booking tools? What do you think is going to happen?
I think they're going to start to be more part of the API economy. So I think one, you'll start to see these app stores on the language models. So you can go to ChatGPT and book a flight, or or Gemini, go through Google Flights, whatever. And then you're also going to see your smart glasses becoming a conduit to these experiences. So you either go through your Meta smart glasses and it goes through Meta somehow, or you go through some experience that is potentially even screenless, or through text interfaces. So I think they're going to stop having like branded, the branded websites are going to be used less and less. And these screenless experiences or these integrated experiences are going to become more and more common within the next 5 to 10 years.
Looking ahead 3 to 5 years, what will travelers expect that feels futuristic today? How's it going to change and what's going to morph into?
The main thing is integration of your network. And so imagine you're going to a concert and you find out who else your buddies from college are going, or some cousin you haven't seen in 10 years is going. So you're thinking about going to a concert, you're deciding whether to go or not, and that data of like who else, the social data that is going influences your decision of what kind of tickets you buy. Or maybe they got premium tickets and you want to sit, you don't really care about the premium, but you want to sit next to them, so you get the premium tickets together. I think that's going to be a big element, is that social element, because people, and then concerts especially, the prices are just through the roof. So when people do these things, they want to do them together.
So, how do you see AI changing loyalty, not just rewards, but emotional connection? Do you see that happening?
You are seeing a lot of loyalty to, people. I mean, the number one use case for ChatGPT is companionship, right? So people are thinking that you
People,
never.
what do they use it for, Sanjay? For like, could it be your travel companion going with you and talking to you? How deep does it go?
I think once the smart glasses are more popular, like the XR glasses right now are, for this quarter, the XR glasses that are screen replacements, those are really getting popular. The Vision Pro and these high end ones are they're just more for gamers right now. But the Meta, they just released another Ray-Ban displays, and so I think we got to give it another
Have you
year.
tried the Raid Band displays?
No, I ended up getting the Luma glasses. I got a Steam Deck for traveling in the RV, and
You got a
the
what?
Steam Deck. It's essentially a gaming computer in a handheld. It's like a kind of like a Nintendo Switch, but it's for PC gaming. And but my eyes, after LASIK, the screen is too small for me, so I can't really operate it and see the text and everything. So the X-Reel, actually many companies right now. X-Reel is one of them. Vitter is the one I got, is the Luma Pros, and so they have a near 4K display that you put on your glasses, and you can, and what's neat about it is you can
Put them on
actually,
your regular glasses?
no, you just put them on as glasses,
Ah, I
and
see.
they have 4K screens, and they have a little button on the right side, and you can either see through them or you can get them opaque. So there's like a privacy mode, not a privacy mode, but more like if you want to interact with your environment, you can have them translucent, or you can
Now,
have it.
can you drive with those glasses on?
Well, not supposed to. That's all I'll say.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. So, how do you go down through, what advice would you give travel brands trying to modernize without breaking everything they already run?
I think you gotta get in these app stores with these large language models. The Open AI is now available. All of all the language
How has it
models.
changed in the last year, Sanjay? Let's talk about it. Open AI. How much has it changed in the last year?
It's Well, one, there's a lot more competition, and so OpenAI has almost become mainstream. Um, it's also a lot more, politically correct and limit kind of. I think the extremes are like if you ask the same question, and people have done studies on this now, but if you ask the same question, ChatGPT is very encouraging no matter what you're wanting to do. It's sort of as long as it's not illegal or racist or something, it'll kind of encourage you to do it, even if it's a terrible idea. Grok will kind of like give you some tough love and tell you like, what are you thinking? This is not like, I asked the other day, should I take? Went to a workout and it was a little bit hadn't done that kind of workout in a couple months, so I was having some back pain. I said, okay, should I taking some turmeric? Should I also add ibuprofen? ChatGPT, just says, oh, if you think it's a good idea, see how you feel. It's very like kind of soft and like like gentle with you, and then it's like Grok was like, what do you want to be a slave to the pharma industry? Like, no, just stick with your turmeric. Like same question, very different responses.
Wow, that's interesting. Um,
And so that's
so
changed. There's been a lot of differentiation, and then Gemini, it's very strong in some
what's
things.
best right now, Sanjay? If you're going out and wanted a general a open tool, an LLM, which one would you want? What would you want today?
Depends what you're doing with it. I would say probably Claude and Grok are leading today, and this changes. Gemini was leading a couple months ago in November. Claude and Grok have done some upgrades, so we're using those. And but it's the nice thing is from a year ago is it's an arms race, and everyone's doing more and more to serve the customer in their own ways. And so we're seeing some really incredible capabilities, and you're seeing these complicated curated experiences being templatized. So something you might want to do like book a hotel plus car plus Uber plus flight, like there's ways now with the comfy UI, and then there's one called Figma just acquired a company Weavy, where you can templatize AI experiences and in different ways and take image generation, video generation, prompt upscaling, but also things that apply to travel. You can create sort of these you can glue together different processes so you orchestrate an agentic, not just a team, but an agentic sequence to do something really, really well.
If you had to sum up what does great digital travel feel like when it's done right, what would that be? How would you say that? What does great travel feel, digital travel
It
feel like when
it
it's done
feels it's really about when something goes wrong that's handled. Like when everything's right, it's easy, right? We like when your flight's on time and your Uber's fast and it's not raining and everything's you know that is pretty good. That's been that was created decades ago with Priceline and that generation of solutions. And if everything goes well, everything goes perfectly, then we've had this technology for a while. It's when something goes wrong. Your Uber's slow. There's a last Fourth of July there was the CrowdStrike hack. And my parents were supposed to come to Florida for Fourth of July, and they couldn't. The line was 3 days long, and they asked, okay, well, how long do we have to wait? And they were like 3 days potentially,
right?
and so they were in Atlanta. They just drove back home. So it's really when things go wrong that all of this matters. When there's a crowd strike, or there's this hurricane, or there's one delay. What if one flight delay messes up your connector, right? Like that's where we're very far from doing a good job right now, and there's a lot of frustration. And in the UK, there's stronger in the Europe EU rather. There's stronger laws on what you're entitled to when there's a problem. In the U.S., if I don't even know if you get your money back if if a flight, I mean legally, I mean the airlines will try to earn your loyalty, but legally, I don't know if your flight's canceled
Yeah,
or
it's not
delayed.
like in
They
Europe.
don't.
A
They
lot of,
don't have. Yeah, they don't have to do anything, right?
yeah,
They
and they
just.
don't offer unless you ask sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. So without those consumer protections in the U.S., I think that there's a lot to be done for the increased customer service because everyone's customer service is terrible. Then it doesn't matter, right? But if some companies start to really have an advantage, Just the way JetBlue, like Spirit or JetBlue, they really found their audiences and found ways to serve them. Spirit through just low cost and humor and just convincing everyone not to fly with a bag anymore, right? So there's going to be different creative angles with AI where maybe it's the boarding process, right? There's so much research on how the boarding process. Like maybe it could be you could sometimes you feel like boarding soon. Maybe you don't always have to do that. There's opportunities where all these delays and weather and whatever else can be orchestrated much better when things go wrong. I think when things go right, we have the technology, but it doesn't do a good job when things go wrong.
So the final question, what excites you most about where the entire travel industry is headed, especially with this with AI right
For
now?
me, it's really this use case of having to provide all this information, my TSA number, my fly miles number, my dog. When I have to fly with my dog, I have to submit a, service animal. Sometimes I have to go pull the vaccination report. If things have changed, if AI can, and I can, right? When AI can do all of that for me and I can just book a flight and optimize all those things, that's what I'm excited about. Just getting my time back.
And that's Simple Night, right? That's why Simple Nights, tools
Exactly.
like Simple Night comes in because they have the ability to be able to do that. And you're right about it. It's an omni-channel engine that ties everything together. And that problem, that travel info obesity problem, is something that has to be resolved. Sanjay, closing thoughts and how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, you can reach me at Sanjay at runday.ai. I would love to create these customized answer engines for your brand so you can deliver these experiences to your customers.
Thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule. And all of you there, as it says underneath my picture, like and subscribe. Go to simplenight.com, go to our YouTube channel, check it out. Be great. And it's great having you all here today. Stay happy, stay safe, and stay healthy. And welcome again. Thank you for coming to Simple Night AI Presents. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm your host. Have a great weekend. And it's good seeing you, my friend. And have a nice weekend. And hopefully, get to ride some bikes soon.
Thanks, Gary. Take care.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.